Welcome. Another episode of the pod here. I know this is like better late than never, but it was on purpose. I wanted to wait. We wanted to wait, let everything about the Messi news unfold, because we knew that things information was going to change very, very quickly. But before we go into that, anyone who's watching, if you're watching us, like, share, subscribe. Share with your friends, engage us on YouTube, engage us in the comments, ask questions. Any soccer question, it doesn't have to be about the topics currently, just any soccer question that you have. Euro leagues are back. I'll start from I guess, my screen to my right. Dara, thanks for joining us again.
Thanks for having me.
Okay. Zaza, thanks for joining us. Part of
My
the
pleasure,
team.
man. My
Um,
pleasure.
and your favorite, Ogakwame, back
Nice to be
again,
here. Yeah. Nice,
like
nice to
never
be
left.
here. Nice to be here.
Okay, I have my Barca jersey, of course. Everybody knows who I am. The probably one of the biggest Messi fans. But today we're going to talk about the major causes of Barcelona's financial problems. Look at the financial part a little bit. We don't talk about that as much. Quick thoughts on Leo Messi. People like us, people like me, are very emotional about Messi for sure. How he has left Barcelona. Even though I'm not a Barcelona fan, it's kind of sad a little bit, in my opinion. The way he left, never had a chance to like say bye to the fans, all of that. And then we also talk about the Euro League. The EPL is back, La Liga, all the leagues are back. It was really nice, the fans in the stadium. For me, personally, that was really nice. Like just watching all the games, the background noise. You don't know how much you've missed it until it actually comes back.
Yeah.
For sure. At least that's how I
That's
felt.
right.
Um, but we'll get to that. We'll get to that. Let's start with Dara. Let's talk about Leo Messi. Let's talk about Barcelona first. Their financial problems. How did they get here? I know the last numbers that came out, 1.3 billion is where they are now in debt. So let's go. Just let me know when you're ready. I know Dara presented some charts for us. Give me some charts that we're going to share.
No, thanks. I'll try to keep this brief as possible. I actually spent a lot of time researching this topic, and it really started from when I had lunch with Toby, I think last week or 2 weeks ago, and we are talking about it. And to be quite frank, I was pretty ignorant about what was going on in Barcelona. I knew football had a spending problem. I knew football had a debt problem, but I just did not know how bad it was in Barcelona. And I brought up a point jokingly that if Messi loves Barcelona so much, why doesn't he play for free? And I think Ayo, you corrected me, and you go, well, he wanted to take he wanted to take a 50% pay cut, but he couldn't. So I spent some time researching the topic. And Ayo, whenever you get a chance, you can bring up the charts. And this really speaks to the crux of the issue. So I'll make 3 points. The first number one point is I don't care how much money you make. If you spend more than you make, you're gonna go broke. So if you're a billionaire and your spending rate is $1 billion a year, you are going to go broke. And it's simple as that. That's one point. The number 2 point is this: the Barca problem is endemic throughout top flight football. And I mean, Chelsea has a similar problem, United has a similar problem. We all have a similar problem. But if you think of it as a cancer, I would say it's eating deeply into Barcelona, and they are the first victim. So that's the second point. And the third point is a lot of football clubs are ran horribly wrong, like in the sense that like they don't do the fundamental thing well, right? Like they don't have a lot of planning in place. And if you look like I mean, I'll give you an example. If you just look at Amazon knows, actually, let's use iPhone as an example. iPhone already has plans of designing the iPhone 2030. They know what phone is coming out next year, 5 years from now. You mean to tell me a club like Barcelona just as they don't have planning in place to understand how their budgeting would work and how their revenue would work stacks to their budget. So what's interesting for me is, and I'll show a couple charts here and we can all jump in. I wanted to look at how much are clubs spending on transfers. So the first thing I did was, okay, let me look at the top 20 transfers ever of all time. And what was actually more interesting is if you look at the top 20 transfers, a lot of those players have not really lived up to the billing. Okay, let's start with Neymar. Neymar going to PSG has been somewhat underwhelming by the transfer fee standards.
Two
Look
hundred
at
million pounds.
Coutinho. I'm sorry?
Yeah, 200 million pounds.
Exactly, 200 million, right? Look at Coutinho going to Barcelona. Look at Eden Hazard going to Real Madrid. My friend, look at Mbappe. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not, so when you do a correlation to how much money spent, I want to say a lot of these big transfers, they've not even gotten good return on their investment compared to Kante. So if you look at like a return on investment for someone like Neymar compared to Kante to Chelsea, I could even make the argument that Kante has done 100 times better once you normalize for his transfer fee.
That's right.
Now, here's a question I'm going to pose to everyone. What under industry can you continuously spend money at such a high rate and no one will put a pause on the brake and say, look, fam, you're spending too much money. We're not getting the return. We're going to change. But
I
guess what
know one.
happens in football? I'm sorry?
I know one.
But guess what happens in football? Everyone doubles down.
Yeah.
Now, if you go to the next chart, right? The next chart shows you, I believe. So actually, rewind back. This is the number, the top 20 transfers of all time, right? Barcelona leads that chart by, I want to say, I can't see the number on the bottom. I want to say by 560 million, followed by Real Madrid, followed by PSG, followed by Man U and Chelsea, right? So someone is saying, okay, why does Barcelona have a problem? Barcelona has a problem because if you look at the top 20 signings ever, Barcelona is responsible for 22% of that spend. Now, let's rewind back. If Barcelona is spending 22% of the highest transfer fees, their revenue is not 3 times more than anybody else. So you're spending way more money than your counterparts, but you're not making more money either.
Yes.
So simplistically, Barcelona has a massive spending problem. But if you look at the chart very well, the Barcelona is not only the problem. You have clubs like, I mean, Chelsea as well. We're very close to that. But Barcelona just kind of leads the chart in this whole spending frenzy. So that's the chart to the left. And if you look to the right, this shows you percentage of that top spending. So once again, Barcelona is at 22%, Real Madrid is at 15, PSG is at 15. What's very interesting to me is in the past 5 years, I mean, actually, if you just look at it in recent times, the football revenue that goes into the top three clubs that are spending the most is actually the lowest, right? I'd make the argument that United, Chelsea, Arsenal, Liverpool are probably more well positioned to get more revenue from football rights better than Barcelona and Real Madrid. So in a nutshell, the transfer budget just exceeds everyone else. They're spending way more than they're making. And here's an interesting fact: when Barcelona wanted to buy Antoine, was it Antoine Griezmann? Yeah, when they wanted to buy Antoine Griezmann, they actually went to the public market to go raise debt to buy Antoine Griezmann.
Yeah.
They went to the public market to raise debt, and they were already in debt. The analogy would be like if I'm owing you, Bucci, I'm owing you 10,000 naira. I mean $10,000, right? And I want to go buy a blender for $20,000, and I want to go borrow money to buy a blender. Now, on top of that, they spend all this money on Antoine Griezmann, and what has Antoine Griezmann done in Barcelona?
Nothing.
Nothing. So
At least not enough to justify the spend.
Not enough to justify the spend, and that has been the story for a long time. And then you think after the old Coutinho debacle, after the old Antoine Griezmann, everyone will say, you know what, guys, let's stop spending, let's chill. But guess what? That was not the story. Even Dembele, remember when they bought Dembele for such amount of money? Where's Dembele right now? Injured. So that they'll be like you buying a Ferrari and you can't even drive it into your parking lot because it's depreciated.
I would add something to you quickly, what you're saying right here, because I don't even think the transfer fees are the worst part of the Barcelona
Oh,
thing.
we're gonna get to the next thing.
Yeah.
You're gonna wages, right? I
Yeah.
put us on the next screen.
Because sorry, let me just use that analogy you said about buying a Ferrari. It's one thing to go out and raise debt to buy a Ferrari, but my day-to-day income can, pay for the maintenance and running of the car. If my day-to-day income cannot pay for me to maintain and run that car, why I bought the car on debt, and I have to go borrow more money to maintain, fuel this car, do regular maintenance. Then what's shit. So that's why I was like, if it was only the transfers, the transfer prices, we'll be like, okay, they can get out of it. But man, dude, when we get to the wages now, we'll start crying for
it's the
Barcelona.
wages. No, you're right. So the first piece of the equation is the enormous spending that's just been going on over the years, and the second part is you're spot on is the wages. So I couldn't find a good chart on wages, so I had to borrow one from the Athletic. And to the left of us, you see the growth rate of wages in a lot of these clubs. And I will say one thing that, and in this place, I'm trying to be as unbiased as possible. Is this problem that Barcelona? So the way I look at this problem is Barcelona is like the feeling the burn of it. But if every club keeps going at this rate, we will get to that issue. So the wages problem is twofold. One is you buy a player and you give them $400,000 a week in the hope that over time, over the term of their contract, you will get that $400 a week, deal. But here's what happens to the market. If today you start paying engineers, $1 million a year, all of a sudden you have to pay every engineer that price, right? The moment you decide, what, we're going to start paying this for, if you come out of school, you have a bachelor's degree in engineering, I'm paying you $1 million. I don't care why. What's going to happen is, okay, the top engineers, you have to pay them 5. The bottom ones, you have to pay them maybe 900. But what you've done essentially is you've lifted the wage gap.
Yeah.
Exactly. So to where even the shitty players, or you have to almost lift their wage gap up, because on the top tier, you're paying top dollar, because you can't have a situation where your best player is earning 50 times more than your worst player. It's just not going to work.
No, it's not
That is what's
tenable.
happening. Exactly. The gap, you somewhat have to manage the gap. So that's one problem. The second problem is this, and this is what Barcelona is facing. When you pay, and Toby brought up this point that I didn't even think about, is when you're paying a lot of wages, when it's time to transfer that player, or when you decide, I don't want this player again, only few clubs can afford the wage.
Yeah.
So you only have like maybe 6 clubs. So let's look at Dembele, for example, that's maybe making, I don't know, let's make it easy, 250,000 a week. Only 2 clubs or maybe 3 clubs in La Liga can afford to pay their wage. So guess what?
Yeah.
You have a problem. You can't even get him off of your balance sheet because only 3 clubs in your entire league can afford to pay the wage. Okay, you now say, I'm going to go to Europe. I'm going to go to England and try to offload this player. Guess what you're going to run into? You're going to run into the same problem, because Chelsea, City, Arsenal, and Spurs and Liverpool, they're already at the end of their own wage bill, right? So all of a sudden now you can't even buy and sell players anymore because no one can afford the wage. So what you end up doing is you loan out the player and you're paying 50% of the wages.
So if
So
you're
a player
lucky,
that's
if you're lucky enough, you get someone that pays the wages, or tells you, okay, we'll pay the wages if you let us have it for 10% of the value. Basically, you take a loss. Anyway, you do it, you take a loss.
Yes. So what's happening now is, before, back in the days when you have a player you didn't want, you can easily sell that player to less teams, or teams that are not as financially stable as you. But now we've created this vacuum to where it's almost a self-fulfilling prophecy. So if PSG says, I'm gonna pay you $400,000 a week, but when you're not performing, you can't sell that player to Monaco. You can't sell that player to Lyon, because the wages is just too high.
Right.
If you look on this chart here, Barcelona's wage growth is 22%. 22% wage growth. That's what Barcelona. So, and there's no way Barcelona's revenue has gone up by 22%, right? So the crazy part is La Liga then says, well, your wage growth is high, because all of a sudden they realize, and it's so stupid that they just realized that now. This has been going on forever. They now say, well, look, you have to reduce your wages to what? It has to reduce by 100 million. How are they going to do that? Almost impossible. Yeah. Chelsea's wage growth is 5.9. Milan, I don't know why. Maybe you guys are familiar with the Italian league.
Million.
Yeah, it's more than 100 million.
From around 375 down to around less than 150. Well, I can
Yeah,
see the limit is
yeah.
less than
Pretty much they have so much debt they have to reduce their wage bill
You have to
to
reduce
around Sevilla and Valencia's level.
exactly.
Yeah.
Literally
But
what's going
but
on.
but how is that even possible? Like I mean, I don't see Barcelona doing that, and
Let
the
me
only way they have to do that is become a Sevilla. Because if you, to be very honest, financially they're on par with a Sevilla. But guess what? The problem with football is Barcelona's pride would never let them do that.
let me
So they
come
kind
in
of
here.
stuck with.
Let me come in here and tell you because you asked us a very good question. You said, "Do you know any industry that operates like soccer?" Yes, the movie industry.
Yeah,
Why I remember that very well was the movie industry is one of the industries that is top heavy. Only a few movies make profits, but the
Yeah.
profits they make tend to cover a lot of the movies that lose money. And and it's one place where a guy will come in, walk into the movie. The movie's budget is 100 million, and one guy is taking 30% of that budget as a salary. And then there's somebody else whose salary is, but it's just basically, hey, this is what we can afford to pay. If the movie makes money, we'll pay you. If not, you know. So why I mentioned that was because they've run this model forever and ever and ever. You know, you keep hearing, oh, movie industries are in trouble, movie industries are in trouble. Then all of a sudden, one of them makes something good. The rest feed off it. You know, they make some money, so they lose again. That's why every few months or every few years, you say, oh, this director is in this studio or this director is breaking up. Because only few movie directors or movie actors are actually really, really profitable. You know, so they all believe every time they believe they're going to make the next Marvel series. They all believe it. They all started, but halfway through, look at the streaming wars going on. Why are movie industries and TV companies spending so much to attract people? Not not to get your money, just to get you to join them because they believe they have that everly optimistic thing that once they hook you, that they're like a drug. You will get hooked and spend money on them. And so it's the same thing with movies. Once we get this guy going, he's a star. We'll feed off his star power from now to the end of life. That was what Barcelona believed they had with Messi. That's what a lot of football clubs believe is the more we spend money, the full good factor, fans are going to feel, oh, let's go spend more money. Let's go. Fans won't let us die. You know, but even though it's
no,
happened to the next club, no, it won't. It won't happen to us. It's the you know the what do you call it? The life of the everly optimistic. That's what the football industry is, and fans will
but
take it for a ride.
I also think part of it has to do with lack of regulation. And I remember what, like, it was a few years ago, like everyone expected Barcelona and Real Madrid to make a top signing. It was almost like encouraged, like, oh, Real Madrid has not made a triple signing yet, and we all of us are like, well, they need to sign somebody, right? I think if you go on the last screen, and I'll just kind of make my final point of, I guess the summary is, okay, yeah, this shows you the wage cost over time, and you can kind of see it. I think blue is England,
England,
and Spain is in yellow, right? But
yes,
majority of this is wages to wages revenue ratio, right?
Yeah.
So this is
Yeah.
looking at how your wage cost has done to your revenue. Now, without being partial, one thing I think
Yeah.
England has done better than the rest of the other leagues is they have probably the best TV right
Yeah.
ever in terms. I
Yeah.
mean, they set up themselves very, very well.
Right.
And also, if you look at France, I mean, France kind of makes sense. Italy, but the jump that you see in Spain, Barcelona and Real Madrid are responsible for most of that. So the
Yeah.
question is, why are you spending way more money if you don't think you're going to make more? And on the last screen, you see Barcelona's revenue growth over the years. So right now they're paying about, I don't know, 400 million in wages, right? But look at their
Yeah.
revenue growth. I mean, these guys are pretty much paying
they
a
picked.
quarter. Exactly.
Yeah.
So, like, look at the growth rate of your revenue since 2010. Your growth rate is maybe, I don't know, like 10%, 20%. It's not that, it's not as high. While your wages is growing at 22%. I mean, you don't even need an accountant to look at this. Like, a kid from high school can simply tell you, fine, you're not making enough money to do this. Now, to Butch's point, maybe in 2017 when they saw 708 euros and it jumped up to like 914 and it jumped up to uh,
990
990, maybe pre-COVID, what they were expecting was another
jump.
jump. And the reason why Barcelona got into this trouble was their projected revenue growth fell below what they anticipated. But anybody that is running a business should know you have to one plan for the unexpected, right? And two, you have to plan for
Downturn.
downside, downturn. But they did it.
And I
So
mean, and I
it's
mean a projection is simply that, a projection.
thank you.
It's not a guarantee.
And you know the flip side of it is the La Liga rule doesn't actually go on projections. It goes on
Actual.
last results.
Yes.
So what did you make last year? That's what you're spending. You can
Yeah,
project,
correct.
but your revenue is on what you made last year. So if you make more revenue, then next year you spend it. To add to that, look, I go back to the movie industry thing because it's a good analogy to use. Because without we can oversimplify using movies. Dada, you are CBS Studios. I am Fox. You bag who's hot now? Who's hot now? No. Let's just use Tom Cruise because I don't know who's hot right now. You back Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise is giving you hot movies 2021, 2022, 23, 24. You have this guy giving you movies coming out at the theaters for the next 4 or 5 years. And what do you think is going to be happening? My shareholders are going to be saying, why haven't you bagged Scarlett Johansson yet? And when I'm telling them, no, we don't have money yet, I don't want to do this. Next thing we hear is CBS is moving to sign Johansson. What do you think I'm going to do? I'm losing my job. I'm facing a shareholder revolt. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Scarlett Johansson and pay her 15-20% over what you offer her. Because for me, the opportunity cost, which is the real cost of losing her, is worse than losing money to her, paying her. Because I can sign some budding stars who will be like, no, I'm going where Scarlett Johansson is good. Some fans are coming with her. So when they look at this whole package, they go all in. That's what soccer clubs do. Barcelona went all in last year. Now, on Messi. Why? It did not make logical sense. We sat here and said, sell this guy, take the money. You need the income. Barcelona said no, because now that Barcelona is gone, look at the amount of jerseys this guy sold in a week. Messi is part of the reason why this projected income was this high. This income is going to fall lower now.
But Bucci, sorry, if I can make a counterpoint.
Yes.
I think Barcelona should have sold Messi earlier.
That's right.
Yeah.
Now the reason why I say that is this. I say the thing is, you cannot plan, and I think this is just horrible planning. And I know the Barca fan in our group is always blaming their previous president. What's his name?
Bartomeu.
Bartomeu. There's always blaming him. No, I don't even think it's that guy's fault. I feel like, as I said before, at some point we need better regulation in football. And the reason why they wanted our Super League was these guys realized, they looked at their books, they're like, holy shit, this is what's coming down the pipeline.
Yeah.
Let's go get this Super League. It was purely financial.
Absolutely.
At some point in time, we need better regulation for football, because if this keeps going at this rate, it's we're going to need a massive bailout, the same of 0809, to get a lot of these clubs out of the issue, out of their problem. Now, I think the reason why Barcelona is doing something like this is Barcelona is almost a national team.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how it works in Spain, though. I think Barcelona will never go bankrupt because maybe the Bank of Catalan will give them this very low yield debt. I'm ignorant when it comes to that. I don't know how they will fund it, but they know at the back of their mind that we will never fail. But the thing is, if they keep going like this, if they get bailed out once, they'll do it again, and eventually the bailout has to stop. Real Madrid got smarter earlier. I think they've kind of fixed their books, and they're going, and that's why one of the reasons why they brought in Ancelotti, someone who can probably get good results from less, right? So they're thinking ahead. I think some few clubs are starting to think ahead. Same thing with Liverpool. right? I feel like they're thinking ahead. Chelsea
They were never in
maybe
that position.
they were never in that position.
Exactly.
And then everybody say another club that is doing this mess is PSG. But one thing that makes PSG very very different is this. I don't know if you guys know this. A good chunk of Neymar's wages is not paid by PSG.
Mhm.
It's paid by the consortium because Neymar is a brand ambassador for the country. So you have the entire country's GDP paying this man's wages.
Correct.
Catalan's economy is not even bigger
Unfortunately.
than Lagos.
And it's almost like Juventus too. I mean, when Ronaldo in Juventus, I hear that 50% of his wages is paid by fiat. So,
I see.
but my take on this Messi Barcelona issue is, look, this is years, at least a decade of poor decision and just poor financial risk being taken, right? And like that I said, they generate a lot of money. The charts speak for themselves. They generate a lot of money, but when you owe more than you can chew, when you spend more than you earn, you're bound to be in financial trouble, regardless of who you are. The problem with Barcelona is this: like every club, they leverage debt. Clubs are run on debt. Businesses are run on debt. That's standard. The problem in Barcelona is that their debt is due now. I mean, like, I think the Athletic says that a huge chunk of the debt is due this summer. So, and this goes to the last point where it says a lot of clubs, it's just a matter of time before they get to the Barcelona level, right? If they keep going the way they're going, Barcelona just happens to be the first, the first guinea pig to get to this point. What makes Barcelona's problem a little more unique is this: when they sold Neymar, £200 million, what did they go and do? They went and bought, Coutinho, £145 million.
Dembele
What was
first.
this one? Zero.
Dembele.
He went and bought Ousmane Dembele. Dude, I remember when he was refusing to show up to Dortmund training, right? They paid £135 million for him. What has he done? Sit in the wheelchair, right? Yeah. They went and bought Griezmann for £113 million from Atletico de Madrid. What has he done? He scored goals. Has he been worth his weight in gold? Not that much, right? And
if it was only that, it would have been worse. They paid that guy 800,000 a week.
Exactly. Look at that, and for some reason, that Barcelona is not they're not publicly held, and for whatever reason, they don't want to upset the ownership structure, so they're not getting that kind of money that publicly held companies like Manchester United can leverage on. And another thing that makes them, they're moving like their Man City and their PSG. The difference is this: it's almost like the airline industry, for example, which he has brought up the movie industry analogy. It's like the airline industry. A lot of American airlines like Delta, United, American, they're always complaining in the international market, right? That these foreign airlines, they're always complaining to the World Trade Organization that these foreign airlines are getting so much tax breaks from their governments.
Yeah,
government owned. KLM, government owned. British Airways, government owned. Ethiopian, Qatar Airways, Fly, they're all government owned. And when you're a government owned company, you don't have to bend over backwards to get tax breaks. Ergo, you become competitive in the international market. You sell tickets cheap to consumers, right?
Because they're using those airlines as a way to boost their own tourism industry.
Delta
so is PSG.
Exactly. Delta has to bend over backwards to get tax breaks from the U.S. government. United, American, the same thing, right?
That's right.
But PSG and Man City, Man City. The thing is this: Man City, when what's his name, Sheikh Mansour bought Man City in 2008. What's the first thing they did? They changed the name of the stadium to what? Etihad Stadium.
Yeah.
The jersey, Etihad Airways, right? Like, they can artificially manufacture streams of commercial revenue. Why? Because they're owned by an entire government. So, for example, if they feel like it, they can change their sponsor or the name of the stadium to Visit Qatar. So now they've switched from being sponsored by the Department of Aviation to the Department of Tourism. rotating. They can just keep rotating streams of commercial revenue
Right.
because they're literally owned by a government. Not only the benefit of being owned by a government is that you not only open up several commercial, avenues, you also are owned by an entity that has regulatory power. Not only do they have financial power, they have regulatory power. So if there
Yep.
are any laws on the books, if there are any regulations that harms PSG or Manchester City, guess what? The king, with the stroke of a pen, right, just
Yeah.
completely makes that go away.
That's right.
The point I'm trying to make is this: Barcelona are moving as though they are owned by a government, and they
Yeah.
are not. Right?
But do you know why they act like they're owned by a government though? I
Because
feel like
One second.
there's
Dara,
oh sorry.
hold that thought.
Oh my
Okay,
bad.
sorry. Let me take comments. Comments are like a couple of comments. First comment that came from Uche. Uche says, "Hope you are when you guys are go live. With love from Lagos." Thanks, Uche. Long time friend of the show. Um, Tata says, "Squad. Yeah, we miss you. You should have been here." J.I. says, "Hey guys from Houston, Texas." Mr. Benvido
That's
should be
true.
on the chat. Is Mr.
That's true.
yeah,
Barcelona.
he's busy.
Yeah,
I know.
That's
yeah.
true, bro.
I
That's true.
know.
I asked him to come. He has commitment. Dara, go ahead with your thoughts. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry. I was gonna say the reason why Barcelona acts that way is there's also a political element that we're missing, right?
That's right.
Is that Real Madrid is the Spanish team, while
Yeah.
Barcelona is the Catalan team.
Right.
So there's this like, and that is why, and it's interesting you say that they act as if they are a government because the Catalans do view themselves that way. Now,
That's right.
also going back to Man City, I actually think Man City is, for the amount of resources they have, they actually spend below their budget. If you
Mhm.
look at that top 20 transfer, I think Man City has one
One.
or
Yeah,
two.
one. One.
One
Yeah, it's
in
one.
that top 20. One. And also, too, when was the last time someone poached a Man City player that they didn't want to let go? I cannot remember.
No.
Right.
I cannot remember.
Bayern.
I can't, yeah,
Bayern took Sane.
right?
Yeah.
Not
Bayern
yet.
took Sane,
Like,
yeah.
so I feel like City, for all their they spend a lot, they spend a lot. They're actually a quite well-run club.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you look at their budget. So the reason why I think, and one thing that also killed Barcelona is the way La Liga is structured. A long time ago, EPL recognized you're only as good as your weakest link. EPL recognized, look, if Man United is playing Burnley, you need Burnley to be competitive in order for you to make money, right? EPL recognized that. They said, look, we have to spread this revenue money as equitable as possible because that is what will keep us richer and
So
that's what will keep us competitive. But La Liga, on the other hand, they made it a duopoly, right? Like Real Madrid, Barcelona, Real Madrid. And what it did was it became parasitic and they sucked all the revenue out of the league themselves. And that's why they find themselves in this issue. But that's Barcelona.
The,
We
there's
can
a
move on to Messi.
historical thing about this thing. I just want to add quickly, which is that in the 90s, super clubs were springing up and they were owned by entities. Parmalat had Parma, all those kind of things. And somehow some of these companies collapsed, and
yep.
some of these clubs collapsed. But from 2000, the old rich guys, the old guy, Madrid, Bayern, Manchester United had been the richest, but these other newer clubs, Chelsea, whatever, they had new owners come up and bring in new investment or whatever. At every step of the way, there was resistance. The old guy were like, they made a lot of noise. Now, at that same period, that's why when people say Chelsea destroyed the transfer market, I start laughing because people forget that that was the same period that Florentino Perez went on that Galactico whatever and said, brought in Figo, Beckham, Zidane, he brought in so many players, Cannavaro, he brought all of them into his squad, and so basically what that happened was all the rivals were going, how do we compete with these guys? Barcelona now went and got what's his name, Ronaldinho, and started paying guys to compete with other clubs who started paying. That's how the way they started running. Now, why I went back to that was now what's happening now is guys are going, football's going to need a rescue, blah blah blah. I've seen clubs collapse. I want this thing to go naturally because there has to be a point where Real Madrid, Barcelona, Manchester United, all of them realize that you cannot keep blowing the house. That's one. Two, there's a lot of arrogance involved in this. But Bayern Munich once said that it is good for them to be a monopoly in Germany because if German clubs stunt their own growth, Bayern's growth, then Germany wouldn't be able to compete in Europe because Bayern is the Germans' representative in Europe that they can't compete against the big European clubs. So that they are good for the German league by dominating the German league. That's the idea these guys have. Big clubs have begun to believe, like Barcelona and Real Madrid, the way they've been treating La Liga with contempt, refuse to sign broadcasting deals, refuse to sign anything that because they're going, no, you can't do anything without us. So if every time they're threatening to leave, so I think it's good for clubs to fail because one, clubs fail, they sell assets. If they don't have assets, then the banks that gave them loans without assets lose.
Yeah.
That's just it. If
Yeah.
Manchester United stops making money today, people are coming for Glazers. The Glazers just have to sell the club, and the bank owns the club. It's not like we don't have access to pay off our debt. The same thing with anybody that borrowed Barcelona, whatever money. If the owners of PSG get bored and say we're leaving, then let PSG go broke. Because every method that has been criticized, we've seen it go well, we've seen it go bad. So I want things to go naturally. Nobody should rescue any clubs. Let them all go bankrupt if they want to.
Yeah, I think that's
That's
a
a fair
good
point.
segment, good segue into talking about Leo Messi. And I want to first start from like the last chart Dallas showed. I think Barcelona's problem, started. At least their decline started from that 2010, and that literally 2010, 2011, especially 11. Even looking at the charts, that literally coincided when Bartomeu and his guys came and took over the club, and they ran that club. I mean, in my opinion, that was at that time, that's probably the best club side. I mean, in my own generation, that I've seen, based on talent level. They took over the best club side that in my own generation, I have watched, based on talent pool in one era, in one place. Had, in my opinion, also the greatest player of all time in their club. And over the last 10 years, they just literally took the club and just buried it. Yeah, they were lucky that they still won like trophies just because of having Messi, greatest player of all time, and some very good players and world class players along the way. Neymar, the Suarez's that came from here and there. They had Iniesta for a couple more years, Xavi, Gerard Piqué. So, but they took that club and ran into the ground, and now has forced the greatest player for sure of their own club to go when he didn't want to go. I'm also ironical, and somebody mentioned it was last year he wanted to go. They forced him to stay, gave him this incredible wages. And now, when he wanted to stay, he was not forced to leave because he wanted to stay. He had agreed. He had told his kids, apparently, from the
He won't take a
interview.
pay cut.
Yeah, he took a pay cut. I told his kids they were staying. Like I told his kids since the beginning of the year that they were staying in Barcelona this year. They're not going anywhere because the kids wanted to stay. His wife wanted to stay. But now he now forced the best player to now leave without doing. I mean, imagine Messi. At least this generation, you can say he's the best player of this generation. He did not even get testimonial. He has to do it I guess, in retrospect, like later on. I like Messi leaving Barcelona, didn't get to say goodbye to the fans officially. I just think it's just kind of that part is kind of sad. From the amount of joy, whether you like him, rival fans, or whatever, the amount of joy Messi as a player has given the football world, Barcelona as a whole. Let's look on Barcelona for the last 2005, 6, which was his debut, till now, and he just goes he lives in the fashion of okay, well, we cannot afford you, have to go. It's for me that part is really really sad.
It's crazy. It's crazy to think that Messi doesn't get a testimonial, but Phil Jones will get one.
Well, Jones has been at the club for 10 years. It's not his
Oh,
fault.
he will. He will get one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, but you guys, one thing we didn't mention, we didn't talk about the drop of because one advantage that Barcelona also had was the La Masia Academy.
Yeah.
Remember, there was a time where they were churning up a lot of talent, and people say, you know what, this is the paradigm for how you produce young talent. But one thing we forget to mention too is sometimes they were lucky. because the thing is, you can recruit all the best kids in the world. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's still a great academy.
Yeah.
But there was a point in time where that academy produced a lot of great talent.
Yeah.
Chances that can happen again, especially in this era where now you have to now compete with other
Because they were
academies.
cheating. Because they were cheating. Like, it's just the simple truth. Since Barcelona got caught cheating with the academy, they were signing players they were signing players from foreign countries. They shouldn't have signed players. They would go to Brazil, Argentina, get people visas to move to Spain. They come and sign for them. Then they were paying kids. That's another part they were doing. They were overpaying kids. There were kids in Barcelona that were on there was a kid that has on 2 million euros a year that hasn't kicked a ball for the first team yet. Yes, they were overpaying kids to move to Barcelona. It was basically that club. They were trying to force the academy to be good. That they, it was how do I put it? There was a lot of ego in Barcelona. It's all their loss, their failing is all about ego. Because
I agree 100%. Yeah.
Yep. Comment from Tiama says, leave Philly G out of it. Philly J out of it. I guess that's a response to you, Jola. I think, yes, you're right. There's a lot of ego from Batiomi, the political thing, because the Batiomi gang, they were kind of opposed to Laporta people, and Laporta was kind of the Johan Cruyff people, different philosophy. That's like getting slightly political about it. I also think they kind of give the template what everybody has followed, right? Which is buying kids and overpaying. Chelsea did it with their loan army thing. United is doing it now. Doing it for the last couple of years.
Yes, sorry.
We're doing it more sophisticated. That's what we're doing now. We're buying players, Hannibal, Mabry, and all these guys. That's what we're doing. We're doing the same thing that Barcelona was doing. So they gave the template for that whole buying youngsters, overpaying them under the table. What will come out will be like, oh, we're paying this kid now. That's not what they're paying them. They were like a lot of agent kickbacks to get
parents getting houses.
Yeah, into the academy. Yeah, so that's all the clubs are doing that now, pretty much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you get caught, you're the one that is caught.
Correct. So for me, Leo Messi's legacy, the way it has ended is kind of sad. It kind of reminds me of Zidane, right? The way Zidane ended that time, when he ended with the headbutts in the final. It was like it feels that way in a way, even though he's still going to play for PSG. Because with PSG, when you see Leo Messi in PSG's jersey, it's weird. It's very weird, because like this is something that you actually.
It just looks unnatural.
It feels so. It honestly feels so. It's like Messi, PSG.
I think we're dwelling too much in the noun. Because we don't know. We're dwelling too much in the noun of the unknown. The good thing you mentioned is Zidane. That's not the first thing I remember about Zidane. That's not his legacy.
No, I know.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I know what you mean. It's sad it ended that way, but think about it. Forget the Zidane, the coach. Zidane, the player. Once somebody says Zidane now, you don't even think about it. It's when you start talking, you now remember the headbutt.
Yeah.
Messi in a year, 2 years, even the Barcelona fans that are hot now, give them 2-3 years, they would love Messi again. The healing will, because this is how football is. I remember when people were so mad Hazard when he left Chelsea. Now Chelsea fans are going, Hazard, come back. Like they see him, like, they saw him joking at the Champions League game, and they were like, "Oh, that's our boy." Because with time heals wounds, and I think his legacy is his legacy. It's written in gold. As far as Barcelona is concerned, he will get a statue there. He will get everything he's supposed to get there. He will get it in due time because he's the as Cruyff was Barcelona as a coach. He's what Cruyff is as a player. He is. He is. They're gonna put him in La Masia. Put all his quotes when kids come and say, "This is the guy you want to be like." And kids will, don't worry about it. It's painful, but it's life.
Yeah. So quick questions for everybody about it before we go to like European roundup. Do you think PSG, the Champions League with PSG, Gucci? Let's start with you.
No.
That's good. No.
I think the team will be too messed up to gel. There are too many egos.
Unbalanced.
Will they win Champions League with Messi? Is that the question?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, PSG.
No, the answer is no.
The answer is no.
No.
I thought I was going to be the odd man out. I don't think he's winning the Champions League with PSG. I think if he's gonna do it, I think he has a very short window, and that is no more than 2 years.
That's right.
I don't see him doing that in the next 2 years.
Okay.
Now you, what is your own answer?
Yeah.
You that asked. Ayo.
Oh, Messi. I think it depends on. I think it depends on Mbappe. I'm going to say that.
So is it a no or a yes?
No,
Yeah,
it depends
you
on
win
Mbappe.
Because he has Mbappe this season, though. He has
Yeah,
Mbappe
Mbappe,
this season.
so-
So
We don't know
Mbappe
yet.
should
There are rumors
travel
coming
under
out.
him.
There are rumors coming out that he's going to go to Madrid before the end of the window. They still have
Where's the
still 2
money
weeks
going to
left.
come from?
Yeah, that's what I say. It's rumors. It's rumors. So
Mbappe
I
moves,
think
it's not
it depends
smart.
on Mbappe. That's my opinion. Depends on Mbappe.
okay, so let's
If
do this. If
Mbappe-
Mbappe stays
I think
for
so.
the next
I think
3
he has a high
years,
chance of winning.
you think
I think he has a high chance of winning. I really do think so.
Okay.
I think he has a
So
high
we
chance
got
of winning.
1 yes and 3 no's.
Yeah, I think he has a very high chance of winning. That's my opinion anyway. Let's see.
Okay.
I see a comment coming. So PSG is not winning Champions League this year.
I don't
PSG
think
not
so.
at least not this year. Okay, no problem.
Yeah, I just don't see it this year. Like it's still a good team, but like it's not as balanced as I like it to be. I don't know, or maybe we're just underestimating Pochettino. I don't.
It's not the
They just.
coach.
I don't know why.
It's not the coach. It's the egos. I'm just looking at that club where somebody doesn't pass to someone and they have a. Remember when Cavani and Nima had somebody had to be the boss of
About
the
penalties, yeah?
kind of thing. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
there's a chance. All those egos. They're like 4 captains in that place, man.
Yeah.
Ramos.
look, Ramos was a captain. Messi was a captain. Where it's coming from?
Nima is the captain. And these are not just captains, these are big ballsy captains, guys that will fight anybody. So
And-
I don't know how they blend, but
And also remember, Champions League is a different animal. Champions League is one of those things where you just can't win it. Like, look at Manchester City. They've been chasing that thing since 2010.
Oh wow, yeah. Oh,
You know,
wow.
so I just don't need it.
But if historically, if you believe in history and like I guess not do tradition or like all of those fables, they've done what everybody who looks for it does, right? Chelsea looked for it for so long, got to a final first, lost, then won it, right?
Yeah.
I think City is even more poised to win it before PSG. To your point,
They got to their final, they've
Yeah.
lost. Now PSG have got to their final, they've lost. They lost last 2 seasons ago. So I mean,
that's a good
you
point.
say if
Yeah.
we get to the final, that's all I'm saying. I think they have a very high chance, but I just think it's the chemistry.
it's the
Of course,
chemistry.
injuries is there. We have to talk about injuries for sure. But I think Mbappe is the key because they need an anchor man in that forward line. If Mbappe and Messi clicks, I think they can win because it's Messi, man. Because I think a lot of people are still underrating how good Messi is. I think a lot of people are still.
I'm not
that's my
underrating
opinion.
him.
A lot of people are still thinking, Messi is a great people are underrating the fact that Barcelona side wasn't very good throughout for the last 3-4 seasons. They weren't very
I
good.
personally think if Mbappe is wise, Mbappe should stay another year because there's no other player made for Messi than Mbappe. The long passing, whatever. Like
exactly.
that's what Messi
I
has
don't
always
think he
did.
should go. My personal opinion, so that we can switch to EPL. I don't think he should go. Because in my opinion, in 2 or 3 years, he's going to be the main man. He will be the main man. I think Neymar is in what I call last chance saloon. Now, this year, next year, Neymar will not be the man.
Yeah.
Neymar is what, 29?
29, yeah.
Yeah, 29 now.
Yeah,
That's the transfer that transfer didn't work.
Yeah.
No, he did not.
Well, they made from it. So you want to talk about Europe? Where we start? You want to start with my boys?
Where else can we start? No. Let's start with the Gunners.
Oh!
I'll let Joel start down. I'll let Joel start down.
Man.
What are your thoughts? So Arsenal lost. Let's talk about the big score lines. I mean, everybody has seen it already. So let's talk about Arsenal.
Yeah.
Right.
Listen.
What are your thoughts? How they started?
Listen.
Right?
Arsenal. Listen. I feel there's like this is a toilet. This is the bottom of the sewer. This is Arsenal. Like Arsenal are they're terrible. the thing, and I feel bad for Arsenal fans. I don't feel bad for the club itself. I don't feel bad for the players. I feel bad for the fans because they used to be formidable. They used to be opponents that
I don't feel
people
bad. I
would
don't
take
feel bad for the
seriously.
fans. Sorry.
You know what's funny? I feel like if you had asked Brentford fans, right, what team in the
They
top
want to
six
play the first
would you like
game.
to play in the first? They probably would have picked
Oh.
Arsenal. They probably would have picked Arsenal, and they would have been right. And if you ask Arsenal fans, what team from the second division, right, that came up, would you like to play? Brentford would have been their best opponent because not only did Brentford just get promoted, they came through the playoffs. So they did not even finish top two, right? But all I'm gonna say is look, 50 million Ben White, man, that entire Arsenal defense, right? I like you guys have played football, right? Where all the football players are just like right like that on the football table. When that long throw came in, right? That's how the Arsenal defense was, like a football defense.
But that's on the coach though.
No, and that's on the coach. But look, and you know what that makes me? I think this begs a bigger question. That look, why is it that a lot of these coaches, when they come in, they look good, and then they just show their true color? Because let's not forget, this same Arteta guy, this guy looked great. He even almost had me fooled, right? Won the FA Cup, beat City, beat Chelsea along the way, then won the Community Shield against, was he Man City? Like, no, Liverpool, dude looked good. And then, all of a sudden he just shows his true color. I don't know. I have no answers for Arsenal fans.
Let's take comments quickly before we go. Because I don't want to speak draw. Neymar is that. Oh, yep. Neymar is 29. Siama. Arsenal finish. It's EJ. She finally but
maybe top 6 in the championship.
EJ, they're coming for you.
Just a point. As I was taking comments, please. I think it's insulting to Leicester City to keep referring to Arsenal as top 6. I'm just being honest. It's not.
No, you're right. You're right.
Yeah,
you're right.
Not,
I think right now one game is not enough data for sure. But right now,
yeah.
Over
the past few seasons, Arsenal are not top 6.
Right.
Leicester and Spurs look above them. Enough Arsenal chat. Bucci, Man United. Quick talk.
Where do I start? Do I want to start with? Okay, I'm gonna do with the obvious, and then I'll tell you the not so obvious one. Three quick things. One, Bruno. Man knows how to score. Man knows how to move. Nothing new.
He's a second striker.
Didn't learn anything new about him.
Striker at this point.
Pretty much a second striker. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Second one, Pogba. Sign that check. £1 million a year, £2 million a year, £2 million a week. What does he want? Give what he wants.
Let's do it.
And then you end up like Barcelona.
Let's do it.
No, that doesn't matter. That's why I'm a fan. It doesn't matter.
This one is different. This is different.
This is very different. It will work out. Trust me. Then finally, there's one weird thing about football, which is we never know. We say it a lot. We never know, but we never really know. Manchester United wanted a striker last year. They couldn't get Haaland. Cavani came. We all know it was only for 1 year. They wanted him for another year to buy time. The guy said, okay, I'll stay 1 more year. Haaland seems to be available next year. They're looking at Haaland, maybe talking about Harry Kane. They might end up not spending a dime because they got Mason gone. Greenwood. That boy might end this season being the best striker in Manchester United. I'm fingers crossed. I'm, crossing it seriously. I'm saying that what I've seen over this in one game, it's one game, but I've seen things in him that he didn't have. He thrived in the middle. He was holding up play. I didn't see him getting pushed over. I didn't see the lack of strength. He was winning that ball and passing it off right. So I'll just be honest. I'm very, very happy. That's just it. Very good performance. I don't want to be drunk on one game, but I enjoyed it.
Enjoyed it.
Let me offer
Okay.
some balance.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Let me offer some balance. Let me offer some balance real quick. And I know I was excited in my match reaction. I was over the moon. But again, games like this, I mean, just like Leeds yesterday. I mean, not yesterday, last season. We scored 6 against them, right?
That's
They
right.
play. They come out to play. And for them, it's like we're gonna play however the cards
Yeah.
fall, then
Yeah.
it is what it is.
They played into you guys' hands all the
Right.
time.
If we can pull up that kind of performance, and I mean like in terms of game domination, creating chances, if we can do that against Burnley, if we can do it against Aston Villa, Southampton, then okay, then I can believe, then I can get I can get as excited as I was on Saturday morning.
Okay, quick. That's good. Very quick,
That
easy.
makes
Quick
sense.
comment. Chairman says, I agree with Zaza. Leicester displays Arsenal for sure. Tata says, Arsenal need to be a Chelsea to house their goal trophy. And worship their fans will
Unbeaten, unbeaten, unbeaten.
Regarding Man
Oh
United, for
man.
me, my quick thoughts before we go to Chelsea.
Mhm.
My quick thoughts are it's one game. You don't see anything different. And I say this because we beat man-to-man marking oriented defense, which is Leeds. United thrive in that system consistently. When we meet teams who know how to, who are more spatial defending, Crystal Palace, Burnley, like Jola said, those kind of teams that typically give us problem. Where they mark the space, there's no space in between the lines. Those kind of the things we struggle with under social consistently. Once we get there, that's when I'll know if we are serious. Chelsea,
Yeah.
Mr. Olamide, European champions, yeah?
First
European
of all, Dada,
champions,
how do
yeah?
you feel about Lukaku?
Oh, I feel great. I just wanted a striker. I just wanted a top striker.
Wow.
Yeah, I feel
How
great about
times
Lukaku.
change. How
Okay.
things change with
Times,
time. Oh.
no. I've never thought. No, I mean, I've never thought. I've always thought highly of Lukaku. Always did. I'm excited we have a striker. What's funny? I posted on the forum. Interestingly enough, nothing has changed from last season. And what do I mean by that? Arsenal's doing what Arsenal does. Spurs are giving you that one-off good performance against City. City lost their first game. They've done that before. Liverpool beating Norwich 3-0. I mean, duh. That was bound to happen.
Right.
Chelsea beating Crystal Palace 3-0. We had 3 different players score. 2 of them were defenders.
As usual.
One was Pulisic. What else was predictable? Okay,
Arsenal
everything
losing
coming
to
from behind.
Arsenal losing
Yeah,
to
exactly.
newly promoted side.
Yeah, so what I'm saying. So the only thing that was just different was just fans. I kind of feel like there's nothing. Now, I will say one thing though. I think for me, the team that has to win the league is United.
No, don't do that
No,
kind
no,
of
no, no,
pressure.
no. Just wait,
Hell
let me finish.
no.
Let me finish. But let me finish though. Let
Hey
me
guys, we
finish.
have come to the end
I
of the
think
podcast. Like, share,
I know,
subscribe.
right? I know, right?
no. Sorry, no. I feel like the team. No. The team okay, rewind back. The team that is most equipped to win the league is City.
Okay.
The team that should win the league is United.
Okay.
The team that I
Explain
want
the
to win the
logic.
league is, of
Explain
course,
the logic,
Chelsea.
please.
No, the logic is this, though, and I keep going back to this. I feel like you guys are at that precipice of if you don't win the league this year, then you guys have gone a long time without winning it. You know what I'm saying? And I think Chelsea is about 1 or 2 seasons away from that. Because the way the league works is you need to be winning it once every 5 years for you to be in the mix. Right now, United is not in the mix of league winners.
Yeah, yeah,
So, and you guys have spent what?
you're just going by strict timeline. Okay.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, our reality does not follow your logic. The
That's right.
thing is this. Yeah, I think what that
You
is
guys have
doing.
the team. You guys have the team.
Listen, I think what that is doing. He's pulling the Thomas Tuchel. He's pulling the Thomas Tuchel card. Remember when Thomas Tuchel came out and said, "Oh, we're fourth favorite to win the league. United, City, and Liverpool are more favorites than us." That's what
I
that
don't
is.
think Liverpool. I don't think Liverpool.
Huh?
No, I don't think Liverpool. I think
No, no,
I
no.
think
But what I'm saying is you're setting expectations for your team low. That
Lower.
way, when end of season comes and Lukaku's up there lifting the Premier League trophy, you're like, ha 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 ha.
no, not expectations. Interestingly enough, I said this. I said if we get a striker, now that we have Lukaku, Chelsea should contend for the title. Like if we finish the season and we don't win the league, to me, the only consolation is we win Champions League again. But what I'm trying to say is this: based on the quality of the team, United now has the team. You guys have the team. The only slight caveat or hesitation is the coach,
You know what?
right?
You know what ratted you out? They told you to
What?
speak about Chelsea. You haven't spoken
I
one.
know this guy's not talking about Chelsea.
This guy
This man
is
hasn't.
talking about United for the past. I'm like, dude, they told you to speak
This man
about
hasn't spoken about
Arsenal.
Chelsea.
I'm a Chelsea man. Like United should win. Do you notice that?
But no. So you know what? All banter aside, but
Mhm.
no, Chelsea were good this weekend. You know, you could see that once Lukaku comes on, it's going to be great. Massive shout out to Shaloba though. That guy looks
It looks real.
fantastic.
It looks
I mean, it
the
looks
real
really
deal.
good. But then at the end of the day, I'm just very wary. And us fans, we do this every year. We look at game one and we just extrapolate it all the way
Yeah,
out to
yeah.
the end of the season. And I really, really don't want to do that. So I'm just going to treat game one as game one. It's
Right.
nice to see the fans. Let's see what happens next week against Arsenal. We just take it one week at a time. But yeah,
I'll be very
Am I
honest.
wrong? Dada, am I wrong? But didn't Chalobah used to play as a midfielder when he was on loan at Lorient?
he plays in.
He
He
was
plays
on
as a
loan in
midfielder.
France
Mhm.
with
Yes,
some.
yes, it does play as a CDM and also
Okay,
as a defender. Yeah, you're
It's
right.
not the
okay,
same
okay,
Chalobah,
okay.
though. It's not the same Chalobah you are talking
Hmm?
about, though, I think. I don't
No,
think
no,
it's
he's
the same
talking
Chalobah
about
you
him.
said. Maybe
No, he's talking about
there's another
his
Chalobah,
brother.
Nathan, right?
Is this Nathan
Yeah, that's his
Chalobah?
brother. That's his brother.
No,
Okay, that's
Nathaniel
fine.
Chalobah is in. I think it's in Watford or something like that.
He's in
Or
Watford. Yeah, that's his
no,
brother.
no.
That
I'm
one plays
talking about the
as a
Chalobah in
forward.
Chelsea.
Yeah, the
Never
Chalobah in
mind.
Chelsea did plays as
You're right.
a defensive midfielder for Lorient. Yeah,
Yeah.
good point.
Let me take these two comments quickly. I have Mrs. Good morning.
Wow.
Respect that. Not great. Exactly. You can't push him off the ball easily. This guy. I'm glad Chelsea got Lukaku because when I negotiated his contract, I came from the goal right there.
These
That
boys.
yeah. Quickly.
I want
Yeah.
let me add
I'll go.
something quickly, right?
Okay.
I'm not doing this extrapolation from one game. That's not what we're doing. Let's not deceive ourselves. Man City had a blip this weekend. They're still the best team in the league. The other three teams we saw this weekend, we are not extrapolating because they were not strong enough. We saw Chelsea without Lukaku, without Thiago Silva, incomplete squad, looked very strong. Liverpool, Veron, not Veron, of course. Van Dijk just coming back. Um, Mane and Co not in form. Only Salah you could probably say is in form. Roberto not there. Henderson didn't play. Fabinho just came on, and they look very strong. United the same thing. Rashford is out. Sancho hardly played. Cavani is still going to come back in. So why I'm saying that is what we saw were teams that are ready. Last season, at the first game, you couldn't say if they were ready or not because they were looking, they were, it was a very convoluted start last season. The teams did not have preseason players. This time around, these four teams are looking like they're gonna give us a ride this season. Save one or two drops there. So I'm gonna be very honest and tell you this: Man City are the best team in the league, but they're not gonna win the league unless they step up to it. Because Chelsea can take it, United can take it, and Liverpool can take it. Any of them. And the way it's looking is this might be that league where the games between the four of them decided. Because I think they will beat everybody else most of the time. They're that much better than the rest of the league. They will beat everybody else.
I'm going to jump in there and say I think it's too early to say that.
Mhm.
I think a lot of the games we saw today, people wrote the lot of games we saw this weekend. Those teams wrote on the fact that fans are back. There was a lot of adrenaline type football, and I'm being honest. And I think we will not know this until at least after 5 games to say the teams are ready. That's what I'm going to say. I don't think we know
And
anything yet.
I hear you, Ayo. Yeah, I hear you, Ayo. But I feel like for me, I think And I know in the last podcast we did, I remember saying that City was going to win the league, right?
Yeah.
Now that Chelsea has Lukaku, my needle is moving more towards Chelsea, and this is why. This is why. You talk about history, right?
Yeah.
Chelsea are that team that play with that, that they have a airport control tower striker, Drogba, Diego Costa, now Lukaku, right? And they've always done well with strikers like that. Look at last season, especially when Thomas Tuchel came. They had enough goals from around the pitch. They get enough. Kurt Zuma scored what, 5 goals from the defense last year? 6, sorry, right? Thiago Silva is a goal-scoring defender as well, right? They get enough goals from the midfield. When you now add Lukaku, especially since Lukaku is the kind of striker, Lukaku is if any striker, if Chelsea had a DNA in a striker, it is Lukaku. That move Lukaku made to United, that was not it. That was not it. We don't do Lukaku's at United, right? No,
you did, but you just didn't have the right coach at the time.
Well, that too. But look, Lukaku fits Chelsea like a glove, and I'm genuinely scared of them this season. I think if City, if Man City has even a blip, Chelsea's winning the league. Chelsea's winning the league.
Even make matters worse, Werner and Lukaku, they look like they're made for each other.
That could be a dangerous combination. I agree.
Because Werner will run for days and Lukaku will just be
be ready to go. Yeah, you're right. Actually, that's the combination I'm looking forward to the most. We'll see how that plays out.
I'm not speaking out of excitement. I looked at those things. I watched them. I sat down and watched them play, and I was looking at the 3-4-3. Works like everything is looking good. Don't get me wrong; it can change next month, but
exactly.
It was a good opener.
It was a good opener, and that's for me. That's the way I like to approach this thing. It's like I want to see more data. It has a City have experience, and they do have a knack of having serious winning runs. Exactly, I was going to say that. Breaking points will come once you see an FA Cup starts. Divided attention sets in. That's
another good point.
Good point.
That's another good point.
I think Liverpool are just looking at Liverpool. I mean, I think the key for Liverpool this season is fitness of Van Dijk. That's kind of captain obvious. The midfield also, how Thiago, Fabio, and Keita, how that works out. Keita has to come good. That's for City.
Yeah, they need him.
I'm not even worried about City. I know.
Do they need Keita? Liverpool don't need Keita, man.
No, I think
Liverpool don't need Keita to come good. He's an extra if he comes good. He's an extra.
Bro, I think they need to come good this season. What's the last City? I think they'll get a striker. Even if Levy digs his heel in and Kane doesn't work, I know they have the backup plan waiting. Like we said, they are a well-run club. They'll get a striker. They aren't going to wait around. They know they need a striker. Let's move to quick thoughts. La Liga. I'll start La Liga. I saw Real Madrid's game a little bit here and there. And I saw the highlights. I mean, they were okay. Some of their fans feel like they're more exciting going forward. I'm not sold on Ancelotti. I'm going to be honest. I've been saying this for a while. I'm not sold on Ancelotti at all. I'm not sold on Ancelotti. Again, I'm not.
Would you bet against him?
Winning the league? I will bet against him. I think whoever is going to win the league is going to be between Atletico and if Koeman finally gets it right. Because the thing about Koeman is towards the end of the season, he's going to mess up. That's has been Koeman's history. They have the talent in Barcelona, but the problem also, they have all these problems because of the financial trouble. That might affect them before they get there. So I agree. I think it's Atletico's Madrid to lose.
So you rate Ancelotti so badly, you wouldn't even take him at United?
Has he ever won the league title?
Carlo Ancelotti? Yeah, of course he has.
Huh?
Don't Chelsea.
Oh, that's the only place he won. That's the place he finally won it, right? Because I don't think he won in Real Madrid.
He won in Milan.
Ancelotti won the league at Real Madrid too.
He won La Liga.
Did he? Because what I was saying that is that guy has won so many titles that I think there was La Liga was his first win.
No, he won it. He was a serial winner at AC Milan.
He won AC Milan. No, he didn't win La Liga. They just won their La Decima. I don't think he won La Liga. He won La Decima. He didn't win La Liga.
He won La Decima. He didn't win the.
He won the Champions League. Yeah, he didn't win the league.
Okay, he won the Champions League, but he also won the Serie A with AC Milan.
He won the
Yeah,
Serie A
he
once.
won
Just
his
once.
plan.
And then he won the Premier League.
I'm just saying, a lot of people look at Ancelotti and they look at his history. I just said last couple of years, I watch him. And to answer your question, no, I will not take him.
Oh wow!
No.
Oh wow!
I will
Interesting.
not.
Okay.
Yeah,
Because
because
the percentage improvement we'll get from Ancelotti will not win us the league. That's to answer your question. I'm not saying I think it's better than social, but the improvement we get from him will not get us the league. We don't. That's not what we need. For me, I think it's Atletico's league to lose. Especially that Rodrigo De Paul, they got that boy. That kid is.
That boy is
I know he's a
solid.
kid. That guy is good. I saw that Copa America. I saw him last season.
Yeah.
That guy will be a stalwart for them. And those are my thoughts.
I want to see what the financial issues do to the La Liga transfers. I want to see if this new money they got in stops them from having to sell off players, because if players still have to leave, like the likes of Saul and Co still have to leave, Trippier leave Atletico, they'll be seriously weakened.
Yeah.
But apart from that, I actually agree. I think Atletico should have a strong season. Between of the three top clubs in La Liga, the only one that looks solid and look like they're still progressing. The other two look like they're regressing. So
Bundesliga, I mean, it's still early days. Bayern didn't look really good. I saw they're giving his Bayern because they struggled. New coach, transition, some players leaving. That's something to watch. My second team, Dortmund, they look really good. Marco Rosa is doing his thing. I hope this continues. Of course, Haaland is a cyborg, and that guy is just a cyborg. I don't think that guy is. I feel like that guy was created in a lab. I'm going to say that allegedly, because that guy is ridiculous, man.
that's
Like
what they said about Cristiano.
Everybody gets that guy next season. If they don't win the whatever league, whether it comes to Spain or England, they've done that boy service. That boy is ridiculous, man. I watched that boy. I'm just like, how's this guy 21? Like, where does he have this knowledge base of the decision making that he has?
That's an old head. Yeah.
Yeah,
But then his father
ridiculous.
was a pro. His father was a pro.
Yeah. So that probably helps. The kid is ridiculous. Itata says, I just hope La Liga does not get to a point where clubs have to scrape points off their stadium to sell and make money. Yeah, that's true. That's a good
I think
point.
the other clubs will be fine. It's the big ones that will suffer. The other ones have been suffering for a long time.
Yeah, I think that's kind of where
They've learned to live within their means.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's where we'll put a
I'm not
pause.
saying there is no league as good as buying your dead meat. What I mean dead meat is, like players that see Capoe, see all those guys going to La Liga and doing well. After failing in the other clubs they've lived within their means, like that I said, for a long time. They'll be fine.
I think it's a good point, to come to the end of the pod. We touched it. For everybody watching, thanks for joining us. Continue to like, share, and sub. Dara, as always, our pleasure.
Thanks for having me.
And Joa, part of the team.
My pleasure.
Thanks for coming on, as always.
Always. Absolutely.
We'll be back here again next week, to do review, the Arsenal Chelsea review. So watch out for that. And we're out.
All right, peace, guys.